Hello everyone, welcome to the Planetary Consciousness Project. I want to talk about tarot card readings today for a few minutes. It's going to be a short video. Before I do, I want to discuss what the purpose of this channel is again. It's to educate people so that they can use proper discernment to determine whether it's a spiritual deception and to look at other types of deceptions as well. I'm going to teach you how to look for patterns. I'm going to teach you how to use logic. I'm going to teach you how to use your intuition. I'm going to give you information that you need. Now I'm going to demonstrate that it's okay to question norms. So let's talk about tarot cards. And before we really get into that subject, I want to talk about something called psychic front loading. Okay, so what is that? Okay, in remote viewing, targets are generally assigned completely blind. They may give the person a latitude and longitude coordinate. They may assign a letter or a number. They may just say that there's a target, I need you to remote view it. They give the viewer nothing. The purpose of that is to keep the person's imagination from psychically front-loading their mind. Because what remote viewing is, and what using psychic abilities are, is that you are sensitizing yourself to a very weak psychic signal. And the reason why the psychic signal is weak is because we are inside of a transdimensional AI planetary consciousness simulation that limits us to 5 senses. One of the ways that it does this is through a type of psychic white noise, which is very, very complicated. I'll be getting into this in the future. But it drowns out the weak psychic, it drowns out the psychic signal, making it weak. So when you remote view, you have to remote view blind. Now some people can remote view with good accuracy, knowing what the target is. They can just move their consciousness to that point, to that place, and they can tell you what they see. Now this can be obfuscated, and so can the standard remote viewing protocol. Any type of remote viewing can be obfuscated. It can also be distorted by the person. So for that reason, proper remote viewing that's taken seriously, and this is as good as it's going to get as far as weeding out the possibility of any type of corruption within the remote viewing itself, because you're not giving the person any information about the target. You're just telling them to remote view something. So that prevents psychic front loading, or it's designed to prevent it. A good remote viewer will be able to remote view without psychic front loading if the target is blind. Okay, so now moving on to tarot cards. What are you doing when you deal the cards out? Now first off, the cards are positioned in the deck according to how they're shuffled. There's no spiritual activity, no psychic activity, no ripples or rips in time takes place. There's nothing going on with the timelines. They're not shifting. There's nothing happening with that deck other than being physically shuffled. So you're physically shuffling the deck, and then you're dealing it out like you're playing poker or some other card game at a casino, and you're laying it out in a spread. And the spread has meaning to it. The order of the cards have meaning to it, and the specific cards have meaning. Each card has a certain meaning, and in certain combinations they mean something different. Okay, so the purpose of doing tarot cards is to base your reading on the cards themselves. So automatically you're predetermined. Your reading is almost completely predetermined because the position of the cards. Now, this is supposed to be used in conjunction with psychic abilities, psychic intuition. But the problem is you're already psychically front-loading by putting the cards out. Each card has meaning, the spread has meaning, order of the cards, and so forth. All of it's telling you something. And the person's intuition has to fit in that framework. You'll never hear someone explain a card spread to you and then say, my intuition is completely different than what these cards are saying. They always go with the spread, as if the spread has some form of magic power or spiritual power that is an accurate divination tool. But how could it be if it's just the randomness of the shuffling of the deck? Now people will say, well, maybe that randomness isn't random at all. Maybe God set that deck up in that order, and now you're dealing the cards And then, so God is dictating the cards, or the universe or sources, and then the person's automatically going to be correct because no matter what they see, it's correct. And their intuition will likely follow. So it's guiding the intuition. Now this is wrong because God doesn't want you to use tarot cards, and God wants you to be psychic. You're not psychic because you're in a simulation that was created by extraterrestrials. So therefore, there's an immediate problem. Tarot cards psychically front load the person giving you the reading. Now, you could do it a different way. You could say, okay, instead of me dealing these cards, before I deal them, I'm going to use my intuition first. I'm going to treat it like I'm remote viewing. So I'm going to just calm my mind, and I'm going to give you the reading. I'm going to actually do the reading, and then I'm going to deal the cards. The problem with that is what if the intuition is different? It's actually different from the cards. But usually, the cards can be interpreted in a certain way, generally, to fit the person's reading that they're using their intuition with. So at this point, if that's the case both ways, and it's flexible both ways, what is the point of the cards in the first place? And ultimately, they have no real purpose. What they do, they're more of a hindrance than anything else. So the next time you get a tarot card reading, or go for one, before you go and actually pay the person, ask them about this. Ask them about psychic front loading. Ask them whether the card spread could be, whether or not the card spread could be incorrect, and that the incorrect card spread would then lead the person who's doing the reading, using their intuition, to change their interpretation of what they're sensing to match the cards, and then therefore it would completely throw the reading off. Get them to explain that, because I bet you that most of these people have never thought about that. So I just want people to be careful. I'm not here to ruin anyone's good time. If you're just doing it for fun, and it's okay, it can be harmless, but there are consequences, especially if you use this and map your life around. If you use a tarot card reading to determine what your choices are going to be, then you're setting yourself up for a lot of manipulation, because not only can you be thrown off by the cards, but your intuition is going to be messed with by the mimic field. And whatever's going on with that can be, what you're doing is opening up, you're opening yourself up for manipulation anytime you do this type of stuff. Really, what you need to do is learn to use your own intuition and not rely on tarot cards, pendulums, Ouija boards, and other types of basically pagan religious props. I wouldn't do any of that. That's me. But until we finally get off of these things, I think then we'll start getting some spiritual clarity in the spiritual community, in the disclosure community. I think we need to get away from the props, and that's my advice for everybody. So anyway, have a good day, have a good evening, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.